Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your host, Shay Wheat, founder of Grace and Ease Productions, where we support entrepreneurs just like you with event-based marketing and sales strategies, allowing you to build your authority, your credibility, and your visibility in your industry. And you know what? As women entrepreneurs, and frankly, business owners in general, there are these moments where frankly, you just feel a little bit burnt out. You feel depleted. You have those thoughts of, am I even on the right track? Is this the right journey for me? Well, today's guest is, now let me see if I can say it properly, Amparo Rojas, who is an empowerment coach, and she supports heart-centered feminine visionaries scale to 10K months while being energetically aligned. Please help me welcome her to the Creating Powerful Impact stage. How are you, my dear?
I am so good. So excited to be here, Shay. Thank you.
Now, you say your name so beautifully. Say it for me.
Amparo Rojas.
Amparo Rojas. I love it. It's so beautiful. Okay. Now, I would love to kind of dive into those moments because, as I was saying, it's this journey. It's this up and down, am I on the right track? I'm feeling so burnt out. I've gotten to this level of business. Am I really supposed to be doing this? Like, it's really hard right now. Things are happening to me, coming flying at me. Like, it all just seems out of whack and not energetically aligned. Can you speak to like what is that? Why does it come up? How can we move through it? And you just kind of share that piece of what do we do with it?
Yeah. Great question. I'll speak from personal experience. The past year or so, I have had the death of my father, the
Mm.
death of my dog who was with me for 15 years, and that was within 3 or 4 months apart. I have had a loss of friendships and a breakup. And I've been through this journey for the past year, which has really opened my eyes up to question how do we handle life when we have these big moments in our life, and it's not always like great or magnificent, and it's not always pleasurable feelings while we hold a business and while we scale it. How do we not close up in our business as leaders because we're leading, our clients through their own journey? How do we not close up, or how do we not, hide ourselves in a room when we have these challenging moments in life? And I have begun to recognize that as we scale, or as we grow our consciousness, as we grow our energy, I feel like life just really sends these challenges, these moments to us to continue to support us in the evolution of our growth. And that is what I recognized in my journey, that as I grew, I also had these very challenging moments, but they were really for growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of I don't know what the old saying is, but it's like the universe gives you the opportunities for you to walk through so then you can support somebody else along the way and kind of give them a hand up versus a handout type of thing.
Yes, yes. And as we navigate those territories, as we navigate all of those challenges, it's a kind of a sort of like alchemy that is happening. Sometimes we're so in it that there's so much pain and there's so much suffering or so much burnt out, but it's really an alchemy that is happening within our mind, within our body, so we can grow and support more, hold more. And then we take those teachings, we take those lessons, and then, support the people that we're supporting.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is I see this in events as well. So, my event hosts will come to me and they're like, we want to do a 3-day event. And I'm like, woo. And then as they start to go through the process, something sometimes comes up and they're like, oh, right. Like they run into something, they hit into something, something's not working right, something's not, in alignment. And what usually ends up happening is they are experiencing something that they get to go through, which then their attendees are going to show up wanting the answer to. Right. So it's like, it's fascinating to experience, right? Because they're coming in and they're going, oh, I don't understand why this, blah. And I'm like, okay, but how can we work through it? What does it look like? What is the message in it? And I kid you not, every single time, that's the theme that the audience is showing up to learn.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes. And it's, like I said, sometimes in the moments it feels so challenging, but when we shift the focus from this is painful, this is challenging, not bypassing the emotions that we're feeling, and we really focus on what is the gift, like you said, what is the message here, and we begin to see those challenges as gifts. We can take those gifts, we can take those teachings and place them in our business, in our finances, with our clients. And I believe that is probably one of the biggest pieces of work we can do, through that type of work of understanding the challenge as a gift.
Now, earlier you had mentioned that you lost your dad and your dog and a number of different things, like in a super short period of time. One, so sorry to hear that. And two, the lesson in it. Like, and I also believe that was one of your highest income producing months at the same time. Like, huh? What? Like, can you walk us through that? Because, I would think it would take somebody out and they would shut everything down, or they have the potential to, right? But can you walk us through like what transpired for you and how that ends up translating to the women that you work with?
Yes. So what happened for me during that, I call it like a portal. I was just in it. It was one thing after another. And I remember feeling this deep sense of loss. And what I believe is that when we give ourselves the permission to be with what is in the present moment, there is so much presence and there is so much connection, not only to ourselves, but also to the divine that is sending these messages to us. And with that level of presence, we can begin to bring that forward. And then we see that, I'm so sorry. We see that as, sorry, I'm turning that off. We begin to bring that presence, that greater presence that we experience through that loss in every area of our life. So the passing of my father and the passing of my dog really reminded me of the importance of life. And through that remembrance, I was able to be more present, more loving with my partner. I was able to be more loving with my family. I was able to really be more present with life. And when we develop that at a greater capacity, we bring that into our business and with our clients as well. And I feel like there's so many leaders who are just trying to get to the next goal, to the next thing, that they've lost that level of presence, of connection, of intimacy. And I believe that those challenges that happened to me really brought me back to what is most important in life, which is love, connection, community, service, intimacy. And when I took those gifts and implemented it into my work, I was seeing so many women gravitating towards me because they felt me. They felt safe and supported a safe and supportive coach who actually cared for them. And I think that that's what sets other, that's what sets a leader and coaches apart from other leaders and coaches, when they feel a leader who is incredibly supportive, who will guide them into new territories through deeper presence, through deeper amounts of love. They want to be led by them. They want to be coached by them.
Yeah. So it's kind of fascinating in the marketplace. You see a lot of things on social media where they're just like, oh, here, we'll do all of this stuff for you, and we'll have all the setters and we'll have the closers and do these ads, and then you don't have to like talk to your clients at all, and the money's just gonna roll in, right? And it's like, the number one question I get asked all the time is, oh, well, you fill the room for me. And it's like, no, you have to connect with your audience. They have to see and feel you, because that's what's drawing them to you. So we want the magic pill, we want the magic click, we want the magic ad that's going to just bring a load of clients in. But really what I'm hearing you say is, when you are in alignment, when you've worked on yourself, when you're doing the energetic piece and bringing that through the business, that's really what's attracting people into your space. Because like in the grief, you're going through it. And I'm sure, I would assume that the women that have shown up when you were going through that process had something similar. Is that right? Where they had a loss, or they had, something happening where they were like, she can support me because I see how she's showing up, and that's how I want to show up, and I'm in it right now and I don't know how to get out of it.
Absolutely. Is how do we create leaders, female leaders, that fulfill their legacy through their work, but don't bypass life? And I find that so often that, rightfully so, as women, we want to fulfill our legacy. We want to fulfill ourselves and create impact in the world. But how do we not bypass life? And if we can allow life in, we actually become better leaders. And that's what happened. And that's why I had my biggest month. And I continue to, bring in amazing women into my life, because it's, yes, how can we support you in getting to the next level of your vision and dream through your finances and in your work? And also, how can you be present with life? How can you have an amazing relationship and intimacy with your partnership, where he doesn't feel isolated or second from the business, right? And
That's a writer downer right there. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I get it conceptually. Is there anything that we can kind of start with, or, where do we start? How do we start with that piece?
Yeah. So what I've noticed, and what I've noticed with myself and in my clients, when we have these dreams and these goals, the inner child within us is actually afraid and is scared and is questioning or has doubt. Am I capable enough? Can I do this? Can I sustain a loving, healthy, harmonious relationship with my family, with my partner? I don't have children, but some of my clients do, with my family, and also grow my business at the same time. And what I take them through is, and what I, invite many women who are listening right now, or men, is to create space for that 5-year-old, to create space for that 5-year-old, which is just scared and is afraid and has doubts and has worries, and to really tend to those worries. That there is gift. There's a gift in those worries. Like we said, the challenges of life, we see the message and the gifts. That 5-year-old is trying to communicate, this part within me doesn't feel capable enough. And when we really tend to that 5-year-old, through love, through reassurance, through compassion, there's a shift that happens. And this is a practice that everyone can do at home. creating space and just really tending to those parts and reminding the 5-year-old, hey, I know you're scared, I know you're afraid, but I'm in the driver's seat now, and I'm going to make decisions for us that is going to feel scary, that will feel like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Where are you taking us? But I'm in control now. And it's that reassurance that we are in the driver's seat, which is going to really facilitate the growth and the expansion with so much more ease.
Okay, so it's essentially having a conversation with the 5-year-old self, right? So, are we doing that in meditation or journaling or whatever the medium is that's best for us to support having that conversation? Is that what you suggest?
Yeah, so I suggest just creating that or implementing that practice into a daily routine. What I love to do is go out in nature and to really turn down, the noise, the podcasts, even the meditations. Like I sometimes feel like those in themselves are a little bit of a distraction. So take yourself into a space that feels safe. And for a lot of women and men, nature feels safe, right? And take yourself into nature and just really listen inwardly. What am I feeling? How am I feeling? What is this next level bringing up for me? And just having a conversation with that 5-year-old. And it's a conversation that you can implement into your routine daily, weekly, monthly, whatever feels right for you. It's just through that inner child conversation.
Yeah, and I would guess that, when you're having the moments of am I on the right track? Is this really the path for me? Or, you're feeling depleted or what have you, go back to this conversation with your inner self and like, okay, what is it with my inner 5-year-old self that is feeling depleted? Like, why are we depleted right now? What is coming up? What, are we pushing too hard? Are we trying to launch 5 million things all at the same time? Right? And have that conversation as kind of the thing that stops us to start taking a look at checking back in.
Yeah, so I believe that the biggest reason why we stop ourselves on our dreams or going after our dreams is that there's a fear that's driving that. There's a driver force, and it's the fear.
Yeah.
And when we don't stop, and I truly mean stop, like even podcasts, even meditation, like when we truly just stop to pay attention to that inner voice and we really listen, what is the fear here? And it doesn't have to be this opening of trauma. It's really through an easy conversation. What is going on here? What are you feeling? We can begin to reassure, hey, like everything's okay. And it's through co-regulation practices, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these practices are incredibly helpful and key components to relaxing the body, to releasing the stress, to releasing the anxiety. And through the co-regulation of the nervous system, our body begins to ease and it begins to relax. And we're no longer needing to force ourselves to the next level, no longer needing to push ourselves to the next level, but more so really just easing our way into it, just walking at a slower pace. And I actually find sometimes that the slower pace is so much more beneficial because when we're hyper moving, it's like we're just forcing, we're pushing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and sometimes it's the slower pace that then catapults you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching like a time lapse photo of, now I can't remember the name of the flower, but the flower itself like opens and contracts and opens wider and contracts and open wider and contracts and opens wider. So then it's like in its full glory. So that's essentially what you're saying. Mimic what nature does, because nature does it with ease. And we try and go, open up. And really we have to open and close, contract, expand, contract, expand until we're in the fullness of it. I just had that huge aha. Thank you for that.
No, thank you.
All of these things come together when they're supposed to. So I literally just watched that yesterday. I saw it. So This is amazing. I would love for you to share with our audience if they want to learn more about the co-regulation, if they want to learn more about how to start incorporating these pieces into their world, what's the best way to get a hold of you? And do you happen to have a gift for our audience?
Yes. So thank you so much once again. I am excited to connect with the women that really resonate with this type of work. The platform that I focus on, and I encourage women to reach out if they have any questions, if they want to start a conversation, is through Instagram. So it's Amparo Rojas __. That is the easiest way. We can start a conversation, see where they're at. And a gift that I have is it's a masterclass. It's just really diving deeper into this topic. I share, how I actually got into this work, which was through 4 years of entrepreneurship. I lived in California, like heaven on earth. I was literally flowing with nature. And I had, amazing people like Priyanka Chopra's manager, Priyanka Chopra, Jay Shetty, his wife, reach out so I could facilitate energy work for them. And then I moved to Indiana, where it was the complete opposite, very conservative, very narrow-minded, and I was able to experience the duality and the contrast. And that is where I really started questioning, okay, so I was flowing with nature and I was attracting these amazing people and opportunities into my life. And I moved to Indiana, it was the complete opposite. It was like a drought in my business. And I was like, how can I develop this within myself without needing to be next to the ocean all the time, right? So Amidst Chaos, my masterclass, will be really diving into that. And I will be, sharing 3 of my key co-regulation practices that women can implement into their life, so they can begin this type of work.
I love it. That's amazing. So definitely check that out. The link will be in the show notes. Last question for you. What is a takeaway or a memorable note you'd like to leave our audience with today?
I think a takeaway, and just a reminder that life is so much more than money and business. And that gets me a little bit emotional given the 6 months that I have lived. And then when we are able to receive life, when we refocus to the importance of community and of intimacy and of connection and of service, we begin to remember that life is cheering us on, and that life is so much more. Life and the divine and God and spirit can really begin to give us way more than what we could have even created by trying to do it alone. And in the trying to do it alone, we actually really slow down the process. So just continue to remember that life is more than money and business, and that when we focus on life, things just speed up for us.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I want to thank our audience for joining us on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm excited for you to take all of the lessons and the resources that you've learned here, start implementing them so that you can create even more impact in your world. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.